Welcome back, everybody. Let's go ahead and take a look at the overview to the general prologue of the Canterbury Tales. Right? So now, with the Canterbury Tales, which you'll notice here is that for each line of text, as we see here, right, the different lines, you'll notice that there's two different versions. The top version is Middle English. The English language, like all languages, is constantly evolving and changing. And in the life of Chaucer, this is what English was. But since that's kind of a challenge, and due to the fact that we're in world literature and not English literature class, we'll look at these side by side. So, in case you're curious what Middle English sounds like, it sounds like this. While that April with his shoulders salt the drought of March hath pierced to the road, and bathed every vein in sweet liquor of which thereto engendered is the flower. When Zephyr is eke with his sweet breath and spirit hath, and every holt and hath the tender croppers and the young sun hath in the realm is coursied on, and small fowls making melody, and it slipping all beneath with open ear. Oh, love Chaucer. So what do we see here with the general prologue? What season is it? It's spring. What month? April. What do we always say about April? April showers, right? So when we have the April rains, right, with his sweet smelling showers, they pierce the drought of March, right? So then spring comes and it's been dry. We've had a dry, tough winter. So the rains come and make everything bloom. So everything springs to life. Then we have Zephyrus, which is the west wind, right? So we have a livening of the landscape, of the earth, and what happens when we see this, right? What's this? What's the season? It's spring. It's April. There's the Christian holiday, Christian festival of Easter, which is tied in with this idea of rebirth, right? That's when the resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth is celebrated, right? When we see this in the land. The land was once dry and barren and dead. And then we see the life-giving rain, right, like a figurative baptism. And then the landscape springs back to life, right? So we have the new leaves and the young sun, right? Now, here in line 8, Hatanaram is half Corsion. What we see there, this is the significance of astrology, not to be confused with astronomy. During this time, during the medieval period, people believed that the different signs of the zodiac, right, and all those different stars that had an impact on our day-to-day lives. Just like some people read their horoscope today thinking that, that's going to come true. During this time, it was very, very popular. All right. So we have all this going on, right? We have all this going on over here in the physical landscape. So pricketh nature in her courages, then longing folk to go on pilgrimages. So what happens is that we see the physical landscape being brought back to life, so it pricks our hearts. It incites our spiritual natures to go on a pilgrimage. Now, the idea of a pilgrimage is one that we don't have anymore in the 21st century unless you're really well off and rich. But during this time, what folks would do is that they would take what we would call, spring break or summer vacation, and they would go to an important place. So what we see here with our pilgrims is that they're here in London, right? We see these southward with different references that we'll see throughout the Canterbury Tales. So we start off in London and we're going on a pilgrimage. We're going on a journey. And this is a good thing to get out of the crowded city of London. We've been cooped up there all winter. It's really stinky. There's no such thing as indoor plumbing. People just empty out their slop buckets in the morning. Ugh. So we get to go out, right? And we get to get out of town. So people would go to holy places. If you were well enough, you would take a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. So what would happen is you would go on a pilgrimage to a holy place and you would go on a journey. There'd be trials and tribulations, right? And you would pick up some new knowledge and then you would return home. Oh, wow. Did y'all notice what I just described sounded circular? That sounded like the journey of the hero. Of course, there's some changes therein, but the important thing now is that everybody is a hero. Yeah, everybody. Anybody can go on a pilgrimage. And that's one of the cool things that we'll see with the Canterbury Pilgrims is all of the different people who get to go on a pilgrimage. So we'll pick up with this idea and continue looking at the General Prologue in our next lecture.